Alright, let me break down the story of Rose Quartz because I believe a lot of hate for her is kinda out of hand. She started off as Pink Diamond, who was one of 4 diamonds, and along with White, Yellow, and Blue Diamond, they would rule over the gems entirely as a species. But the diamonds were hella classist and saw every gem underneath their rule as lesser than in every which way and form. They thought they were perfect and saw colonization throughout the galaxy as a good thing to expand their greatness. And while the other 3 diamonds had colonies, Pink did not have even one, and that was mainly because they babied the fuck out of her. They did not believe she was mature enough or responsible enough to have her own colony because of who she was. And I kind of can't blame them because Pink is very childish in the mind and even had a whole playground where she had the being like Spinel to play with her 24/7. This would actually cause her to lash out with her powers every now and then. One of these outbursts would actually cause permanent damage to her personal pearl, and she'd actually get replaced by the pearl that we know and fuck with. Eventually though, they caved and gave her a colony, which would be Earth. During that time, she would also leave Spinel in that garden just standing in one spot for thousands of years. But she quickly got bored of just overseeing it like the diamonds would usually do when it came to their colonies. And she loved how they were creating life from the planet. And as much as she wanted to walk among the gems that were being created on Earth, she knew she couldn't because her fellow diamonds wouldn't fuck with it. So to the current Pearl's suggestion, she decided to shapeshift herself into a Rose Quartz. That way she could simply just go to Earth and blend in with the other gems. Over time though, she would fall in love with the planet and its natural beauty. From the plants to the water to the creatures that would live among it, including the humans that were also there at the time when they came through. However, Rose quickly realized that once the gems are done colonizing the planet, there will be nothing left of what was natural about Earth. She tried to call off the colonization of Earth through Yellow and Blue Diamond, but neither one of them took her seriously. When she brought up that the humans and the wildlife would be erased, they created human zoos. Her status as a diamond did not matter to the other diamonds. It was just seen as another tantrum, so she decided to then choose violence. Through Pearl and her identity as Rose Quartz, they were going to scare the gems off of Earth by just essentially beating the shit out of them. However, this would all essentially change through the birth of Garnet. Rose saw something beautiful in that unison. She fell in love with the possibilities that Earth could bring out of other gems and decided to change her mission entirely, as well as create a home for the gems that didn't conform to the society of Homeworld and the diamonds. She then created the crystal gems and started the Gem War. During the war, Bismuth would not only be responsible for creating Rose's sword, but also a device called the Breaking Point, which main purpose was to shatter gems. But Rose didn't see such a brutal weapon in her practice and decided to go against it and hide Bismuth away by bubbling them. But as much as Rose didn't agree with the method, she still took the advice that one shattering could end the war. Shit was not going sweet for her side, so she decided a way to end it quickly. She decided to fake her death as a shattering and assume the identity of Rose Quartz permanently. She believed this would stop her armies as well as gain no retaliation from the diamonds because she thought they didn't care about her as much as they did. And she made sure Pearl swore to secrecy because she believed no one could ever know about this fact. However, it turns out once the diamonds found out that Pink was shattered, they got pissed off, came to Earth, and hit them with an attack that would corrupt every gem on the surface, with the only ones staying safe were Garnet and Pearl because Rose protected them. Fast forward 6,000 years and repairing damage from the war, and she would eventually meet Greg Universe. The 2 of them would eventually fall in love, and some years later, Rose would actually become pregnant with Steven. Rose would give up her mind, body, and sentience to create Steven, and the rest is the show. Now, the main problem a lot of people in and out the show had when it came to Rose's actions were the fact that it was highly selfish and neglected a lot of gems. One example is Spinel, who got left in space for over 6,000 years in one spot as a game because Rose did not want to stay there anymore. But she didn't even move until she saw Steven's announcement from Homeworld. Then you got all the shit that her fake shattering would put every other gem through that didn't even know was fake, like the diamonds. Then you got all these secrets behind Pearl's back, and Pearl thought she was her greatest confidant who she kept no secrets from. Hell, she was the only one that knew she was a freaking diamond. Then you got all the emotional baggage the entire gem squad would feel the second they found out all this shit happened. All this with Steven being the closest thing they have to answers because he's the closest thing to Rose. But the one thing that a lot of people tended to forget when watching the show was that she was never an actively bad person. She only had 2 major L moves, and that was the Spinel situation. And even then, that was something that happened before she even became Rose Quartz, and making Pearl swear to secrecy. Because it sure she couldn't talk about her problems even if she wanted to. Hell, when everything was revealed to Bismuth, even Bismuth themselves understood why the fuck Rose did what she did. Bismuth showed Rose her possible future murder weapon. What do you think was going to happen? And then you got the episode where everything gets revealed about Pink Diamond and Rose Quartz being able to explain everything else. And out of everyone, Pink was the only one that realized what they were doing was wrong. And she didn't mean to put her problems on Steven. That was unfortunately just a byproduct of creating him. She was just happy as hell to give birth to Steven. Bro, my question is, why didn't anyone hop on the other diamonds? Both before and after the Pink's fake shattering, they were on top tier fuckery up until they found out who Steven was. Yellow Diamond was commanding whole invasions and was actively and willingly responsible for the forced fusion experiments. Blue Diamond was a known shatterer and would use her powers to exude her emotions on other people. And White Diamond was straight up mind controlling everybody. Point being though, I'm not gonna get on Rose's mistakes because that's literally the minority of her character. At worst, what she gets from me is, damn, you a dumb motherfucker.